We are bringing you the latest information on Tropical Storm Florence and the damage. Right now, there are 5 confirmed deaths in North Carolina, 2 in Lenoir County, both related to generators, a medical-related death in Pender County, and a mother and a newborn in Wilmington when a tree fell on their home this morning. The baby's father was also hurt and is now in the hospital.
A lot happening now, but we want to get you out to Governor Roy Cooper, who is addressing the media at a press conference.
Already today, 3 confirmed deaths are attributed to the storm, and several more deaths are under investigation. This loss of life is devastating. It's devastating to the families and the friends of these victims. The fact is, this storm is deadly, and we know that we are days away from it ending. If you're in the storm's path, take shelter and stay there. And if you've already evacuated to a safe place, please stay put. Now is not the time to try to return home. Many roads across North Carolina are flooded and impassable, and the roads in many areas are getting worse. Resist the urge to go out and check on the damage. We have days of rain ahead of us, and that means more rivers will rise and flood communities. Forecasts predict that the Cape Fear and Lumber rivers will rise as high or even higher than in Hurricane Matthew, and this will cause devastating floods. Earlier today, I issued an order to allow for sandbagging in the Lumberton area, which may help to reduce the impacts. Stay alert for flood warnings, and if you're asked to evacuate, go. More reports of damage are pouring in, and the forecast tells us that we have a lot more of this storm to endure. Here are some of the latest updates. Swiftwater rescue teams and other first responders have rescued hundreds of people in Newbern. Teams from local areas, other states, and the Coast Guard are responding to calls for help, and they are conducting searches of the flooded areas. Even as the storm still rages, if people need help, these rescuers are going out there and doing their best to get to them. More flooding will occur in eastern North Carolina, as well as areas from Fayetteville through the Sandhills all the way to Charlotte. Some of these areas have not flooded before. If you live in any of these areas, pay close attention to the flood warnings and be prepared to evacuate quickly. Rains will be starting this weekend in western North Carolina as well, where they could lead to landslides. And right now we have about 650,000 North Carolinians without power statewide. And the utility companies tell us that this number will keep rising, and they think it could be anywhere from 1 million to 2.5 million people that could eventually lose power. Utilities have brought in crews from other states so that they can restore power as quickly as possible once the weather allows them to do it. And the utilities say the same thing that I said earlier. You can help them by not attempting to return home before you get the all clear. This will allow the thousands of utility workers that are out there risking their lives to restore power more rapidly and safely. We have over 20,000 people in our shelters. We've got about 150 or more. The University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill has agreed to operate a mass shelter on its campus. We already have Wake Forest University that has allowed us to use the Lawrence Joel Veterans Memorial Coliseum in Winston-Salem. We're thankful to these 2 schools, along with numerous public schools and churches and other facilities that are opening their doors to serve as shelters. We know many people who evacuated from their homes are wondering when they can return home and what their home's going to be like. We know that people are going to need a place to stay, not only for days and weeks, but sometimes even longer. Efforts to get people longer-term housing once the storm has passed are already underway. First responders are braving dangerous conditions today to save lives, and we really thank them. Please help them by not putting yourself at risk. Stay indoors, don't drive through water, don't use generators indoor, and be alert to listen to the radio for warnings about wind, tornadoes, rising waters, or orders to shut off gas, water, and power. If you have an emergency, call 911. Shelter information is available at the Ready NC app or at our website or by dialing 211. Hard of hearing individuals should dial 888-892-1162. And we're grateful for Monica McGee here providing for American Sign Language. Right now, our focus is on saving lives and protecting people. We're still in the thick of the storm, and it's far from over. And if the storm hasn't reached you yet, it's still coming. Once conditions improve, we'll have teams with supplies and equipment ready to get out to hard-hit areas and help them start to clean up and recover. We have help here from North Carolina as well as 23 other states, the National Guard, and of course our federal partners. We have food and water and other critical items ready to go to the people who need them. And we have crews ready to clear the roads and make them safe again. We have a lot of people who are ready to help and want to donate. People are reaching out to us. So we have activated the North Carolina Disaster Relief Fund for donations. You can visit governor.nc.gov or text Florence to 20222 if you'd like to help. Part of our team is here. We have Eric Hooks, our Secretary of the Department of Public Safety. Beside him, we have Mike Sprayberry, our Director of Emergency Management. Just to my right, Jim Trogdon, the Secretary of the Department of Transportation. We have just behind me to my left, Colonel Glenn McNeil, the Commander of the North Carolina Highway Patrol. We have Albie Lewis, who is our FEMA partner. And we have Major General Greg Lusk, the Commander of the North Carolina National Guard. And, the National Guard. And we have Commander Peggy Britton of the United States Coast Guard with us today as well. I'm first going to recognize Mike Sprayberry for some comments. Mike?
Thank you, Governor. Good afternoon, everyone. The State Emergency Operations Center continues to operate at a level 1 with all of our CERT partners here. I'd like to first thank all of our volunteers for the work that you're doing. You are the bedrock of our response and recovery operation, and we totally appreciate it. As the Governor was saying, the impacts to the state from Hurricane Florence are significant and will continue to be significant. As the storm moves inland, we'll begin to experience unprecedented flooding. We urge all of our residents to log in to our Flood Inundation Mapping and Alert Network, known as FIMAN, at fiman.nc.gov/FIMAN. That's fiman.nc.gov/FIMAN. You can see what roads and structures will be affected by flooding, and users can sign up to be alerted by this system by text and email when rivers begin to rise. We're currently engaged in search and rescue operations in our coastal counties, and our logistics teams are pushing out commodities as requested. Shelter operations continue to be a top priority, and we thank once again our local partners for stepping up to assist us in sheltering for their fellow North Carolinians from Hurricane Florence. As always, please make sure you follow the guidance of your local officials, as well as staying tuned to your local media to ensure your situational awareness. Thank you so much for your support of your state emergency response team. Thank you, Governor.
Secretary Jim Trogdon of the North Carolina Department of Transportation.
Thank you, Governor. Today's assessments continue to support that significant impacts were due to storm surge and are focused that we are aware of today in Beaufort County, Carteret County, Craven County, and Pamlico counties were combined. We have 33 primary road locations that are experiencing high water and overwash and 30 secondary road locations. We anticipate additional impacts will be identified over the coming days as winds subside, particularly in Onslow, New Hanover, Pender, Brunswick counties as well. We anticipate we'll be able to get assessments started tomorrow when the wind subsides in those locations, probably in the morning but no later than noon. Additional reports have come in on trees down in Wayne, Harnett, Robertson, Scotland counties as well, but we see no significant impacts to mobility at this time. And we also have initial reports of flooding starting in upland areas in Wake County to include US 70, Glenwood Avenue, and NC 50, Creedmoor Road, as well as NC 55 and Apex. So travel conditions will change rapidly over the coming days. So we ask our citizens to visit drivenc.gov before they travel. As wind subsides, DOT crews will get out rapidly and conduct damage assessments, as well as immediately clear debris and trees from the road. We will continue to monitor the rainfalls because we anticipate that our damages will continue to rise over the coming week. Thank you.
Colonel Glenn McNeil of the North Carolina Highway Patrol, the commander. Colonel.
Thank you, Governor. Good afternoon. We're continually monitoring our roadways as we continue to feel the effects of the heavy rain throughout our state. Several areas east of I-95 have experienced flooding, storm surge, strong winds, causing very dangerous travel conditions. Many roadways in these areas are closed due to standing and rushing water. As the storm continues to move west, we anticipate the number of flooded roadways within the Triangle and Sandhills to increase. Our message is very clear. Do not attempt to travel through standing water or go around road closures and barricades. Only 4 to 6 inches of rushing water can cause a vehicle to be swept away, placing the occupants in harm's way and also placing the first responders who have to respond to save them in harm's way as well. So please heed these warnings. Since midnight, the Highway Patrol has responded to 80 collisions throughout the impacted areas and 164 calls for service. Troopers, our civilian staff, along with our DOT partners, we're working diligently to try to keep people safe along our highways. So please heed these warnings. We're trying to do our very best to keep you safe. Residents are encouraged to stay indoors, stay off the roadways unless absolutely necessary. Our roadway conditions will continue to diminish throughout the state. So please visit drivenc.gov to monitor road closures within your area before you attempt to travel. Thank you, Governor.
As the commander was speaking, I think people have done generally a pretty good job, with some exceptions, of evacuations. We want to emphasize again, do not go back into these areas right now. You're going to have debris clearing, utility workers, emergency responders, and we really want people to stay put right now. We'll take your questions.
President Trump, this is Dewan Willard, WTV. President Trump said he's going to visit the state, thank you, early next week to mid next week. Has he reached out to you, and if so, do you plan to accompany him on that trip?
Our offices are talking, as we are with all of our federal partners. We're going to want all of the help that we can get. Certainly at the appropriate time, we can arrange that. But right now, we are focused on rescue. We know that into next week, our rivers are going to continue to rise and that there will be more significant flooding. So we're going to need all the help we can get, but right now we're focused on rescue and recovery.
I wonder if, Gary Robertson, AP, I wonder if Mr. Sprayberry could talk about the details of the UNC Chapel Hill shelter, and also if you could talk about the temporary, what happens next after the shelters and what is being done specifically related to temporary housing.
Thank you for that. And so UNC Chapel Hill was gracious enough to offer up a center over there. I believe it's a tennis center that we're going to be able to use. And so we're going to be able to shelter several hundred people there. It'll be a large shelter, and that should be tomorrow. We've already had meetings with our federal partners to begin discussing different types of temporary housing solutions. And so we have a number of avenues that are open to us, such as the Transitional Sheltering Assistance Program that we used so heavily during Hurricane Matthew, where we were able to put folks in hotels. But what we want to try to do is to minimize the time that people spend in their shelters that they're in right now. Of course, like the governor said, we don't need them going back into their areas until they're cleared and safe to go. But there are going to be some people where their homes are going to be damaged, so we're going to have to determine a housing solution for them. And to that end, we have already met with, like I said, with our partners to get some things going on, and we're continuing to have those conversations now.
I know that you'd announced, this is Zara Jersey from BuzzFeed News. You mentioned that there are 3 confirmed deaths and several more that are under investigation. Can you provide some numbers of how many are under investigation and any details about those?
We have the 3 confirmed deaths, but I can't say how many we have under investigation at this time. It's being determined what the cause of death is and whether they are related to the storm. And as soon as those are confirmed, we will make those public.
My name is Andy. I'm with the News and Observer. I had a follow-up to that. And Brunswick County officials say that someone died in a shelter there yesterday. And I'm wondering how are death totals determined as caused by the hurricane, caused by something else? They haven't released information about how this person died or whether it was drug-related, weather-related, anything like that. Can you speak to that?
I believe the medical examiner determines that. But Mike, if you wanted to add anything to that.
So what will happen is the local medical examiner will determine cause of death. They will coordinate with our Office of State Medical Examiner, and once they confirm the cause of death, they'll let us know here at the state EOC whether or not it's a storm-related fatality, and then we will make that announcement.
Governor, Patrick Rucker with Reuters. On the inland flooding issue, there's a lot of the strength of like infrastructure for waste is based on 100-year floods. Let's say that'll be the benchmark. You talked about like 1,000-year event here. I'm wondering if you're concerned this infrastructure is going to be pushed to its limits, design limit really.
There's no question. We're deeply concerned about the riverine flooding that is going to occur. We've done mapping, strategic mapping, so we know that there's going to be significant flooding in areas where we are expecting it. We're told by the National Weather Service now that as you go across the Sandhills to Charlotte, that there will be some areas that flood that haven't flooded before. So all of the infrastructure here is going to be tested, and we knew this was going to be a big storm, but it is going to be of epic proportions here, the kind of flooding that we're looking at. And right now, safety and security of people is the #1 priority, and local officials are working to evacuate some of those areas, and we'll plan to evacuate them if the rivers rise at the level that is expected. Other questions?
Michael Highland from CBS 17. You had mentioned about the Cape Fear and Lumber Rivers expected to rise. I wonder what's the expectation for the Tar River, and will the communities that were devastated during Hurricane Matthew, are you essentially saying the same thing could happen again?
Some of the areas that were devastated during Hurricane Matthew are going to be at risk for this. We're expecting some additional flooding with the Neuse. I think the Tar River is not as bad as it was during Hurricane Matthew. We can get you those specifics, however, because we have the forecast for each one of the rivers, and our meteorologist, Katie Webster.
Okay, that was Governor Roy Cooper giving us an update on the situation in our state. He confirms that there were 3 deaths. There are several others that are under investigation, and we have just learned that there was a death yesterday at a shelter at West Brunswick High School. That is still being investigated. They're not sure how that person died.